Is that a Gouda cheese?
No, Bob, somebody threw up. Bobby turns every cent into food somehow.
Shit. Bobby had to take one of my Pop-Tarts.
You threw it at him. He caught it, and Pop-Tart went flying everywhere.
Well, that was his teeth. He started eating it.
It is true. You
While
don't
it
have
was still
one
in the air.
You don't He tried to eat like a fucking seal, throwing him a fish.
Can you tell the open micers to stop chatting like we're not on the radio?
That's just mean now.
We're on the radio. Stop whispering, shit dicks.
Here's the deal to set the mood here. We got Bob Kelly eating one of my Pop-Tarts. Mm-hmm. We got Colin Quinn has arrived.
Yeah, with his fucking gay coat.
Gay coat?
He borrowed Mary Tyler Moore's jacket.
Where is that?
Put it on. Put it on. Show this fucking. Look at the buttons.
It is Mary Tyler Moore's.
Wait for the buttons. He's got fucking wooden buttons.
Is it kind of like military?
No, it's not
got
military.
The military vibe.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Let me see.
It looks like it looked like it was going to be a pea coat.
Oh God,
it's kind of a cool coat.
It's not a cool coat.
Oh no, it's those old leather buttons.
Yeah,
Fucking
asshole.
Oh my God.
Fucking
This is an Angela Lansbury coat.
Yeah, why don't you go solve a crime in that, you fucking idiot?
It's a belt buckle around the neck, too,
Colin's
trying to own it.
yet.
Colin's trying to own the coat.
And help.
You stepped on your own joke.
We also got Jim Florentine. We got Joe DeRosa, and Kurt Metzger has arrived. And Bill Burr waited through the break.
Wow.
Bill, what's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. What's going on, man?
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
Strange day, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. Awful, awful, awful. I think yesterday was, I set the record for laughing and crying. Every time I start crying, I think about something funny that, and I start laughing. It's just awful. It's awful.
Yeah.
And I bring it down. You guys were on a nice roll there, but
no.
We've had.
It's what it is.
It's been all over the place all morning.
It sucks.
It's been all over the place.
And you do. It's like I wasn't able to really watch a lot of the videos that people were posting yesterday because I don't know.
It was tough.
Made me feel weird. It was kind of sad. I tried a couple of times, but it was just like it got too sad. But then you read some of the shit and you start laughing your ass off because you just read it in Patrice's voice, and that got me laughing pretty good.
I started thinking of all the stuff that he did. Do you know one time he had a meeting at Comedy Central? And, you put on your I'm going to get a deal shirt, and you go in there, and you tap dance, and you try to sell your stupid idea for a show. He went in there and spent 45 minutes trashing the executives for putting Mind of Mencia on the air. And he just wouldn't let up. And then that was it. The meeting ended. Like, that was just basically I think he pitched his show in the final 3 minutes.
He got the opportunity to go in there and decided he was just going to bash the show. Oh, man, that's fucking great.
Just kept, and at the end, he pitched his show for like 3 minutes. And I remember asking him why he did it. I go, why would you do that? And he just started laughing. I was thinking about all that stuff. One time Bobby, do you remember the time that comedian came to town? He had the metal hand.
What?
Remember that? Hang on 1 second. I'm going to the airport. This is my ride. Hold on a second.
Oh.
Hello. Okay, all right, thanks. Freaking guy went to south instead of north. Yeah, so this guy comes to town. He was missing his left hand, so he had like one of those 3-pronged left hand things. Everybody sees it. Nobody wants to say anything. And the great thing was it was his left hand, so when you met the guy, you just stuck out your right hand, and there was no problem. But everybody's thinking, what happened to his hand, right? So after he meets like 10 comics, he then meets Patrice, and Patrice sees the guy, and when he goes to shake his hand, instead of sticking out his right hand, he sticks out his left hand. And the guy with the fake hand, like just out of instinct, stuck out his left hand and then sort of froze for a second. And then Patrice, with his big, dainty fingers, just grabbed one of the metal tongs and sort of shook it. And there was all this awkwardness, and then Patrice just goes, "What happened to your hand, man?" And like that's why I loved the name of his last special, Elephant in the Room, because that's what he always did.
Yeah.
Just addressed You want to sit there and be like, that's rude, that's insensitive, and then you're like, dude, that's exactly what I was thinking. What happened to your hand?
Yeah.
I know, it's actually psyched that he asked it, and I don't know, man. I'm going to miss that guy like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's, I mean, I've known quite a few people that have left us. But this one is just like...
It just hurts.
This
one really hurts.
He's so fucking irreplaceable,
Yeah, no, he's even beyond the description of one of a kind.
Yeah.
One of a kind is almost like hacky at this
That's
point.
too cliche, right?
Yeah, you're right. That's what I tweeted yesterday, you redheaded cocksucker, you. Go fuck yourself, Billy. How's that?
He's making a good point.
Bobby, do you know something? Ever since we started doing these stupid movies and this goddamn book, I now hate the sound of your voice.
That wasn't me, you fucking cocksucker. That was fucking stupid Colin Quinn, you redheaded shit.
Was that cocky feature act?
No, that was fucking Colin Quinn. You don't recognize that raspy, shitty voice?
Hey.
No offense. No, I know.
I'm walking through a gate carrying my bags at 5 in the morning out here. Cut me some slack, and I'm on a Droid. I don't have the iPhone,
dude. Attack Colin. I didn't attack you.
How did Bobby get dragged into this
Bobby
shit?
was too busy eating. It was Colin Quinn.
Bobby. Because he said it was a hack line. He thought it was Bobby, so it was mine.
Huh?
What'd you say?
You trashed me and I missed it.
No, you trashed me. You called me a hack for saying he's one of a kind.
Well, that was a really great, deep sentiment.
No, Colin, you're so old, you're grandfathered into using that expression.
Yeah. And then you followed up with Patrice was aces in your book.
I thought he was just swell.
He's in cat's pajamas.
Colin said 5 words since he's come in here. He's just getting shit on.
As he should. As he should with that fucking stupid gay Pico. I don't know what the problem is. It's a lovely jacket, Bob. It's not a lovely. It's a lovely jacket if you're an 85-year-old woman.
Where you going, Phil?
Going to go do some gig in Western Massachusetts. Every time I go, I still get nervous when I perform out there because a long time ago in Lee, Massachusetts, exit 2 off the Mass Pike, somebody threw a dinner roll at me when I was performing and doing stand-up in some restaurant.
Oh, shit. That's pretty degrading.
That's my fantasy. I'd like to get paid with those.
Yeah. Have all 5 courses thrown at you.
Jesus, Joe. Just like that a little too much there, Bob.
Why wouldn't that fucking Arab like it?
I like the fact that Bill Burr secretly hates your voice, and that came out. That makes me really happy.
I know, it really did.
Yeah.
Billy's real feelings come out.
Yeah.
Holy shit, he snapped, right?
Yeah.
All right, or maybe not.
Ever since we started doing stuff together, we never call for fun anymore. It's always like, yeah, we got to edit this thing. I hate you guys.
What are you doing, a book on tape or something?
No, we're writing a book, stupid.
Oh, sorry.
Like you should have.
Yeah, I know. Well,
You should
what
write
are
a
you
book
gonna do?
about your fucking...
I'll do that.
Oh, your midlife crisis.
My I had midlife crisis going on at 12.
Yeah.
I swear.
Well, I hope that
Dummy wants to buy a jet ski for his pool. Come on over, guys. How many parties can you have? It's never going to fill the hole. Fucking asshole. Just get old gracefully, get a pair of glasses, and borrow Fag's coat.
Well,
I'm not sure I like my new nickname.
You don't like that one, Colin?
Bag's coat.
Yes, Jimmy.
it is. If you're writing a book with Bobby, I hope that someone is doing the spell check, because it was very sad yesterday. We were all telling each other before the news broke.
God.
And it's always nice when Matt Frost called me, but when you get a text from Bob Kelly, can you read that right there under the photo?
I said he wished he could. You can't. Get his glasses.
Oh, God, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Can I
read it?
Yeah.
Can I guess it?
Wait.
Wow, you're squinting bad.
Wow. Anthony.
Get LASIK.
Anthony, we're on
Jim.
radio. They don't know you can't see.
I
Fake
can't
it.
see.
Wait, you
Can
can't
I-
read that?
No, I can. I have to squint though.
You want me to?
Really bad.
Yeah, just
I really put off
right under the picture.
I put off glasses for
under the
3
picture.
years.
Jesus
I've been
Christ.
squinting. It just hurts.
Yeah.
Just he passed, Jim?
Yeah. But do you understand what he wrote there?
No, don't.
Yeah.
Let's see if he does.
P-A-S-T.
Jesus Christ.
He wrote he passed.
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry that our friend passed away, and I fucked up on spelling, you nerd.
No,
I
but-
wish I met you back in high school. I would have beat the fuck out of you and took your money.
This is not. You're not.
Jeez, Bob.
This is not putting the I
just
before
a
E.
little Norton going, you spelled that wrong. Shut up.
It's a basic.
Oh, right.
Just because Patrice died, that doesn't explain you being monumentally stupid. That's not the excuse.
Hey,
What
Bobby.
did he die? Did he take your fucking brain with him?
It would be like pass, like P-A-S-S.
No, Keith didn't do it to him.
E-D.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wrote it as intense.
I wrote it on the iPhone. The iPhone fucked
You
it
could
up.
blame the
should've blamed
iPhone.
autocorrect.
you could.
Autocorrect.
Yeah.
I do that sometimes. I'm like, fucking spell check.
It did
Don't
fuck
bother.
up.
Goddamn
Well,
iPhone.
here it is. I get the call from Matt. I wrote. I turned on to make sure that he knew, and I just wrote for him because I didn't know if he knew because he was on the. I don't know if he answered his phone. I wrote that, and it just did that, and I was in bed, and what am I going to do? But I fucked up. I apologize, Jim, for not spelling it correctly.
I'm not. No. I'm very grateful it happened. It was my one laugh of the morning. I was like, oh, thank God, this idiot is still himself.
This is fucking mean.
You know, in defense of Bob, he's become a way better speller. I remember way back in the day, he was sending me an email, and he called me a faggot, and he spelled it F-A-G-I-T.
Oh no!
I was trying to say it like spelling it phonetically because it was with an accent. Faggot.
I ain't watching
Bobby,
either.
spell phonetically.
F-I-N.
Spell phonetically. Go fuck yourself.
Do you remember that dude, that treatment? Remember you had me look at your treatment, and I tried to trash you about your. This is hilarious. It was unbelievable. The spelling, like it was disturbing.
Right.
And I go, Bob, Bobby, your spelling is crazy. He goes, so. That's all.
I didn't go to school, Kurt. I didn't go to school.
But how about, can we just stop and focus for 1 second? The fact that you, insecure, fucking lame ass, gave Kurt your treatment to look over.
A guy you just called an open micer about 3 seconds ago.
Oh, look, Kurt.
And it was like years ago.
Kurt is an open micer, but he's a writer. He's a good writer.
Thanks,
Kurt's a
Bobby.
great writer.
I can spell it.
What was it?
You can spell that.
What was it?
It's called I'm Finished, right?
Oh, yeah, that thing.
How'd you spell that?
Yeah. Fucking ROBERTKELLY.
Was that the name of the pilot of things you've never said at a dinner table?
That's it? Just one? That's it?
That's too good.
That's it?
that one.
Just one?
That's a home run.
We're not
really?
like Rich Voss. We don't get
fucking
greedy
home
and try to pile on and bomb.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one. You always get. I always like when Voss is here because he'll always end the fucking fun.
Oh yeah.
First
of all, there's no second of all.
We were trying to tell him last night how dumb he is. And the difference, he goes, "You're dumber than me." I'm like, I'm not dumber than you because I know I'm dumb. I admit that I can't spell. I know I'm stupid. You think you're smart. He said on his
really does,
podcast, "Put the head speakers on." He's talking about headphones.
The head speaker.
He called them the head speakers. Bonnie, put the head speakers on. And Bonnie just went, head speakers, Rich?
Really?
Yeah, because he tried to blaze past it, and Bonnie goes, "Head speakers? Are we gonna go back to that for a minute, Rich? Are we gonna talk about head speakers?" He is the dumbest fuck.
I am fully aware that I am stupid.
Yeah.
In many areas, but I know
I don't
certain
like
things.
what Bobby's doing right now. This is like when somebody blows the game and before the press trashes them, they go, I take full responsibility.
Very good.
Yep, that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, Bobby, Jesus.
Getting ahead of the
Well,
story.
when you're right, Bill. Why don't you shut your face? I hope your phone dies.
Bill, anything else on Patrice? Any stories? I mean, you guys started together a long time ago, man.
God, I don't know. No, because then I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. It's just too fucking sad.
Isn't it?
Just, I can't. I just, I don't know that I'll be able to wrap my head around him not being. All I can say is I'm psyched he got to do your show because your fans got to get a glimpse of what it was like to hang out with him. Because you go on there, obviously he wasn't doing his act, and just really seeing like how that guy on stage and off was just. He's just the funniest fucking guy I ever met.
Yeah. There's literally like days and days of material that could be played
From the show,
of
wow.
him just hanging out and bullshitting about everything. People are.
That bit you guys did. Sorry to interrupt. That bit you guys did, the up and down game when Patrice laughed.
Oh, yeah, that's
like that.
Well, you know,
from his soul. I thought he was going to pass out. Like I used to watch that thing like 5 times in a row by myself, and I would be crying, laughing.
Yeah,
you can't not laugh watching that. Yeah.
The thing.
He gets up and he's walking out of the studio, still laughing. The door closes, and you can still hear him laughing.
Through a soundproof door.
I remember I couldn't wait to show Patrice what we learned that Bobo could do. Because at that point, we saw Bobo do that a bunch of times, but we knew Patrice would bring it to a whole new fucking level.
Fucking great.
And we were so excited, like, Patrice, wait till you see what we got for you today.
And I never expected that reaction. I knew he would enjoy it, but I
Right.
never expected just that complete breakdown of control.
Oh yeah,
laughing.
yeah. He was doubled.
crying.
He was doubled over, doing an old man shuffle out the door because he could not even hold himself up. He was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
No, my favorite part is Jim never breaks character and just keeps going.
Yeah.
Keeps going. Start talking about the Mets. I never would have been able to hold it together. When
Yeah.
somebody started repeatedly screaming, "Oh my God! Oh my God!" That's the funniest. That's the funniest thing ever.
Watching him, what's great too is when you watch him shake when he's about to lose it, and you watch him. He's sitting in the chair and he's smiling, and then you just see his body losing control. He starts to like shake.
For the people who don't know, Bobo, he would take his pants off and he would get hard if we talked about sex. But as soon as we started talking about the Mets, it would instantly go soft. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
And he never knew what we were doing. He's such an idiot.
Yeah.
And so Jimmy, would go back and forth and watch this thing get hard, get soft,
Yeah,
get
talk
hard.
about her big juicy tits. And he'd go like, yeah, and he would put his hands together and grind his hands.
Right.
And his cock would be rock hard. And I would go, but really, I mean, what are the Mets going to do about right field? I mean, it's not going well. And he would go, yeah, well, they got to get a draft pick. And he would just start talking about the Mets, and his dick would go soft.
Wow.
Like
within seconds, though. Within seconds.
Have you seen the clip, Colin?
Even
No.
Well, the
No, I
clip
haven't
doesn't.
seen it either. I gotta
The
see
clip
it.
doesn't do it justice because we had to hide the whole.
I'd
the
like to
whole
build up
fact.
to that and start with like Louis Pasteur and his experiments. Work our way up to Bobo losing his
magical
arm.
dick.
I don't think the actual clip does it justice because we had to hide Bobo's dick for the YouTube and all that shit.
But the laugh is
the laugh is
censorship,
just
man.
contagious. Fucking
Censorship.
Yeah, no, that's one of those laughs where even if you didn't know him, you're just laughing at how hard somebody's laughing. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody laugh that hard.
No, fucking.
And he had the
Great.
greatest laugh, so you just combine the two.
Oh my God! Everyone in the room would be laughing just as hard as him.
Why does
We would
Opie
follow
have
his lead?
Why does Opie have a fucking coat thing? Why does he get to hang his coat and hat up, and you guys
rack.
don't?
Do you know what a pain in the ass it was to get that coat rack put in
Why do you
here?
have a
It was
coat
for
rack?
everyone.
There's only two.
Everyone?
There's
There's
two
two
fucking
prongs
things.
on it.
Everyone.
Behind
Who's gonna walk behind you and hang their jacket?
I asked for a goddamn coat rack.
You put it up right behind you. Your stuff's up nice and neat. These fucking scumbags have to look at his all on his chair.
I'm not even wearing one
He doesn't even have
today.
a coat because he doesn't
I
like.
know
They can't hang it.
I know it's mild.
Hey, Colin, you want to hang your jacket where Rhoda hangs hers? Colin has a gay coat. Your coat really does stink.
Jesus, Joe.
Just makes Rhoda made me laugh really hard.
I like how Bob Kelly got the.
Wait, hold on one second.
Fuck, I was just lining up.
Okay, go ahead.
No, forget it. Now it's
I'm
over.
sorry.
Go ahead,
It's
Tony.
okay, Colin.
What were you
No,
gonna say? Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No. The moment's
Go ahead. No,
passed.
it hasn't. Go ahead. Try it again. If it bombs, so what? Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to
I'll
say
say
it. No, he's
I'll say what I
trying.
was going to say when I ruined.
Go ahead.
I don't like the fact that DeRosa used the alternative comedy. Rhoda really made me laugh Fuck you.
You didn't say that, did you?
He
said,
Rhoda did.
No.
He said when Jimmy was having a nice honest laugh, he goes, Rhoda really made me laugh.
Rhoda did it for him.
Shut up,
The
Joe.
word row.
Joe's only upset because I'm going to ruin his opening status.
Oh, wait. What, Bill?
Bill, what'd you say?
On my awful cell phone, I heard Joe say that, and it fucking annoyed me. Everybody.
Thanks, Billy. Billy.
All right, well.
Boy, that turned.
Fuck you, cunts.
God damn it.
All right, there. Why don't we let Billy Burr go?
It's up to him. You want to go, Bill?
He's at the airport, right?
Yeah, I got nothing left. The trash ain't coming my way, so why don't I hang
It is true. You know it's coming.
The winds have changed. You can tell.
Still pretty pounding. I can smell them when they're coming.
Yeah.
See you, buddy.
Bye, Bill.
Burr.
Thanks, man.
See you, man.
See you, bro.
See you guys in a few days.
See you later.
Even Piers Morgan had something to say about Patrice.
Yeah, and
you want to play this clip?
Gets it all wrong.
Did you hear the local clip? You guys would appreciate. I should play it for them.
Yeah.
The Fox 5 clip first. Colin, did you hear this yet?
No.
Oh God.
This was the only laugh I had yesterday. It was Fox 5 here in New
Was
York.
it, what's his face? Greg Kelly?
Huh?
Gutfeld?
No, Kelly.
Who's Greg
Local
Kelly?
guy. I don't know.
Okay.
Entertainment reporter for Fox 5.
No, he's somebody else.
I mean, it's sad. It's a 20-second obit, but listen to the end of this thing.
Sad news tonight from the entertainment world. Comedian Patrice O'Neal has died. O'Neal died this morning from complications from a stroke he suffered last month. The Boston native appeared in September's Comedy Central's roast of Charlie Sheen, where his struggle with diabetes was a punchline for many jokes. O'Neal was a well-known presence on talk shows in the stand-up industry and was a frequent guest on the Opie and Anthony radio show. He was 14 years old.
14. Come on.
Patrice was 14?
14.
I thought he was older.
Can you believe that?
That's an amazing career for a 14-year-old.
That's fucking prodigy.
Jesus.
What did you say?
He was the Doogie Howser of comedy.
What
did
was
the rest
funny?
say?
We were talking yesterday about the roast and how he was all the jokes about diabetes and
Yeah.
I was saying how like 18 different people tweeted that it should have been me to me. You know, why wasn't it you? It should be you.
I texted you that.
We're just forwarding that goes to you, Colin.
And then Amy Schumer said she got like 100 and something. I hope you get ovarian cancer because of what she
Holy
wrote. So, like,
shit.
you
You know
should
what?
die, bitch. You know.
Dude, on that,
Wow.
I wrote for that roast, and it was so hard to come up with shit to make fun of Patrice because that's all you could get him on was he has diabetes or he looks like a gorilla. Like there was no.
Jesus Christ.
But that was the only. That was the only thing.
I
Like the
think
only
we just found the
punchlines.
eulogy writer. For the next day.
But seriously, there was no like.
Seriously?
There was no. There was no real things to make fun of him about. It was hard to write jokes about him, so everybody wrote about that shit. You know what I mean? Like nobody had.
He's still trying to be serious. Kurt, shut up. You called him a gorilla. Stop.
I didn't.
You called him a gorilla.
Amy Schumer did,
And you
she
exposed
deserved-
yourself as a horrible hack that can only pick up two subjects, and now all the anger towards Amy is going to be focused on you for the next 10 years.
It's not going to be.
I didn't.
Yeah.
He was hard to hit with jokes.
His at Muppet eyebrows on fucking Twitter.
Shut up, Joe.
Jesus, Joe. Kurt's not taking his shit. I love it.
Gonna beat up Joe.
Kurt's gonna use those fucking huge rape hands to choke Joe's little fucking.
Joe's got
thin
great
neck
little
out.
raping tits. Look at those little sweet. I'm gonna pump you.
You're gonna punch me off the love seat back here.
Amy's here.
Speaking of Amy Schumer,
God damn, is she looking good?
Yeah,
She
she
always
does.
does.
She looks
She
hot
does
in grief.
look
Fuck.
talented.
She looks hot in grief.
Yeah.
Guys, I got to get out here, actually.
let her.
I got to go.
All right, good.
Bobby?
She'll take your seat.
I'll see you guys later.
All right, Bobby. Thank you for coming in.
Bye, Bobby.
Take it easy, Bobby. Come break a leg.
Hi, Amy.
Amy.
Hey.
How are you?
Take Bobby warmed up the chair for you. I'm sure it's sweaty.
It's good seeing you.
Hi, honey.
Hi.
Hi, Amy.
So Kurt writes all your jokes?
Yeah.
That's what he was just saying.
That's right. Just the ones that get me in trouble.
I go, Amy's coat is more manly than Colin's. It really is.
my lovely coat today. Well, look at it.
Amy, what do
You
you
want to
think?
take a look at his coat?
P for pussy.
I think
Wow.
Colin's going for the
You're like
distinguished.
Paddington Bear.
Right, you're a distinguished gentleman's coat.
Yeah.
That's what he's going for. What do you think?
Yeah, he's definitely hitting the nail on the head there.
Show with a nice collar buckle.
Yeah. It does. It has got a collar
It's a
buckle.
handy ball gag.
No
buckle.
longer a man.
You guys really should switch coats before we're done here today.
Yeah.
Why are you holding your coat? Because everyone asked me to show it to Amy. I was just displaying it. I was doing what I was
Colin, you
told.
want me to hang up the coat?
You think someone's going
I
to
was
steal it?
wondering why, in the middle of this like trashing, Norton just sitting there scowling at me.
He was
I was like, what's his fucking problem, man?
He was waiting his turn. He was.
But you know what Billy was
revving
saying
up.
about Patrice?
Yeah.
I was thinking that just reminded me when we started doing the show, and before we did Tough Crowd, we did it on NBC a couple of times. And I remember I was always like, don't leave him alone. You know, it was just like so new to the business. It was like the only thing he'd ever had. And I knew, like, don't leave him alone with any of these fucking NBC executives.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And then I remember one time just walking in it, and it was like a soundproof office. Like every time I left him alone with Lauren, anybody, something horrible would happen. But just a soundproof office. And it was like some guy from the West Coast was in town. And it was just him and the guy on the West Coast. And he was sitting there, and I looked over at the guy, and he had this horrified look on his face. And Patrice was talking as if, yeah, you were a couple of guys having a conversation. And I just walked in, and I heard, like, pussy and bitches. Like, he was just, like, spouting to this, like, white guy in his 50s in a fucking suit. But it's just like as if he's having a conversation with fucking, you know, Will at the cellar. Yeah. And it's just like, and the guy just had this horrified, like, his face was pasty white. He gave no respect.
No. That's
He would do though.
Yeah.
That's a pretty accurate description. He gave him no respect.
right. Yeah.
People that didn't deserve it.
Another
No.
big producer once. I remember at the cellar, this guy was doing like a movie, and it was like, hey Patrice, like, and I thought I still said there had to be a slight scintilla of non-destructiveness. I go, Patrice, this guy's doing it, and the guy goes, hi, I heard a lot about you. And Patrice is at the bar at the cellar, and he turns around like fucking royalty, like this, and then just turns away.
A little dainty handshake.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. He drove me out to one of Ant's barbecues one time. He's like, I'll pick you up. And I was so touched that he was giving me a ride that I spent 2 hours making him these rap CDs. I made him like 3.
What are you, a girl?
Thank you.
Oh my God, Colin, give him your coat. Give him your coat.
Did you talk in between songs too?
A personal story before every song.
Wow, Joe.
I made him 3 rap CDs. I was like, these are songs he probably doesn't have. He'll
Now,
appreciate
Jerry,
this.
I imagine the band striking up the music.
Oh, what a
Oh, geez.
Wow,
dude. A mixtape for Patrice.
Trying to do this now.
I can't.
What were some of the songs on there?
It was all rap songs.
Give me a couple.
They were all like.
I Need
like
Love
you're gonna
by
know any
Cool
of it.
J.
Yeah, I Need Love by Cool J.
Doing it.
Yeah, doing it well. Hey Love. Yeah.
You can do
Some
it,
Boys
put your
to
back
Men.
into it.
It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
my
No,
God.
I made him like. I was like, dude,
God, I
I
can't
appreciate
even
you giving me a
look at
ride, man. I know you're not going to take gas money. I made you these. I thought you might enjoy these for when you're
He would have
driving
took
around.
gas money.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, all right, like that, right?
Because you just came out of the closet to him, dude. That's why.
It's a long ride.
Oh, God damn.
He put every CD, I swear to God, every CD he put it in back to back, and he just sat there, 2 seconds of each song. You go,
Oh shit! Next.
literally through each CD, and he goes, I mean, Joe, goddamn, I mean,
You didn't appreciate that
I appreciate the gesture and all, I guess, but
You didn't recognize that you're a white rap historian? Wow.
yeah, I think there were.
This is twin hype, Patrice, in the 90s.
I think there was that he called me cracker a few times in between songs, and but the funny is that when he found out I was Egyptian, he'd call me up like on Thanksgiving. He'd be like, Joe, you want to come over for Thanksgiving? I go, I can't. I'm doing stuff with my family. He goes, you know what, Joe? I'm tired of you pretending you're white. And he'd go, everybody knows you're a dirty nigga African, just like the rest of us.
I remember when I sent Patrice a text that I was having a kid. He calls up. I see him call him. I think he's going to congratulate me. He's like, but the first thing he says, please tell me the bitch is white. That's all he said.
Oh, shit.
I'll never forget, I was at the comic strip Christmas party, and I brought this girl in. She was really hot, and Patrice is just looking her up and down. He goes, you got this in the bag? I go, yeah. He goes, so I could say whatever I want? I go, yeah. He goes, you sure? I don't want to ruin it for you.
Why would you say yeah? Why would you say yeah?
I was like, no, it's fine. So he just went over. He goes, you like this guy? And she's like, yeah, he's really funny. He's like, do you know his opening joke is the difference between alcohol and marijuana? You realize that? She's like, yeah, he's really funny. Yeah, I know that one. That's good. You realize he does voices of puppets on TV. That's like my favorite show. And he goes, you're just a dumb bitch. And the girl's like, how can you say he's your friend? I'm like, he's joking. She's like, how is that a joke? He just called me a dumb bitch.
Holy
Fucking A.
He ended a couple of my relationships early.
Yeah.
He did, yeah.
Early.
Just, you'd see him get that look in his eye, like, and you didn't know what mood Patrice is going to be in. He could be the most lovely, like, little angel, or just, he would just slowly turn. It was like slow-mo, and I saw him sizing up the dude I was with, and I'm like, no, running over. It was too late. Just trashed this guy's life. The guy, I don't think he ever got an erection again.
I went to a dinner party one time. We used to have the same manager, and they invited us to this dinner party. I showed up with a second date with the girl, and I was trying so hard to impress her. I walk in with her. Patrice goes, hey, what's up, Joe? Who's this? And I go, it's Melissa. And he goes, hey, Melissa, did you fuck him yet? Did you fuck Joe yet? And she goes, no. And he goes, you should fuck him. He's a good dude. Fuck this dude. And I'm like, all right, let's have hors d'oeuvres now.
Obviously, Amy Schumer is here, and now Louis C.K. has entered the studio.
Hey, Louis.
Morning, guys.
Hello.
How you doing, man?
It's like everybody that Twittered yesterday.
Yeah.
I didn't
Amazing.
tweet.
You didn't tweet?
No. I always feel phony.
Phony, really?
Well, the thing, my heart goes out.
Well, yeah, it depends on. Well, if you word it like
prayers.
Colin, then it comes off as insensitive and hacked.
No, put on Colin's coat and say it.
No, it's not that it's phony at all. It's just that to me,
It's just not your thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I never tweet about anything, and so.
And all of a sudden you can tweet about something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I don't do it. Because I don't love anybody that much. I don't care.
Wait till you see Colin's coat.
I made a witty remark.
Oh boy, he's defending it.
At the beginning of my witticism, I happened to throw in Patrice's one of a kind. So, you kind of let it
One of a
slide.
kind.
Right.
So then
They
Bill
broke
Burr
the
just calls on
mold.
the phone and he's from the airport.
Mm-hmm.
And goes, yeah, I don't want to leave any tweet like some one of a kind, some hack fucking quote. And I thought at first he saw my quote and was busting my balls, but he's just saying
He really meant it.
worse.
Even worse, he really meant it, not knowing what you wrote.
Terrible.
How about the fact that he didn't know what you even wrote?
No.
Yeah.
No idea.
That's
And he didn't
insensitive.
bother to investigate the full thing that I wrote. That's what hurt the most.
True. He just picked out the one hack.
One,
showing your age part.
I told my kids this morning about Patrice, and and I listened to because I told them I'm going here afterwards, and then all his friends are going to be here, and so I turned it on, and there's fucking. Is he here still, Bobby? Did he leave?
Bobby.
Just left.
Yeah.
I turn on it, and he's not even saying anything. He's just we're all at the fucking cellar last night, and he's just telling a story. He could be saying anything. He's like, we're at the fucking cellar, and fucking what's his name is there, and fucking he's not upset. He's not. It's just this shit that comes out of his fucking mouth.
I think he just caught a popcorn.
And my
in his
daughters
mouth.
are 6 and 9, and I'm going, I'm trying to ride the fucking volume. And they can't enjoy people's emotions about their fucking past friend because of this fucking. And so they go like, why does they had to ask, like, why does this person, because it sounds crazy.
Yeah, of course.
If you don't listen to it all the time, it's like, what's wrong with this? It's beyond Tourette's. It's like
That's so odd because when he was here, talking into
Yeah.
the mic,
Didn't
you
feel-
don't realize it because
He
he's
says
here.
fuck a lot.
But
Yeah.
I guess
Bobby
if you're
likes
listening to it on the radio,
It's
you really,
insane.
especially with children,
Yes.
right?
But I explained to them that Patrice and Bobby and I came from Boston, and that there was. I told them what it's like to do comedy there. That there's drunk Irish people. I'm teaching them stereotypes. The Irish Bostonians get wasted, and they sing na 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 na. Hey, you get chanted off stage, and so people had different ways to survive that. And Bobby's was, I explained to the kids the difference between, like, you're trying to tell a story. So I went to the store, and the guy there was really mean to me. Right. Nobody's listening. They're throwing stuff at you. But I went to the fucking store, and the fucking guy was a fucking asshole. Like, it's a way of charging through the shit. Like, that's what turns guys like that.
Oh, shit.
And then Patrice was just this a mountain that sat on stage. He was just a mountain. Whole other approach to being listened to by those audiences.
Yeah.
Bostonians terrified of giant black men.
Yeah, it's just a huge presence.
Did you start out with him
on the stage?
No, he came up after I'd left Boston, and then he just showed up here as this Boston, young, enormous Boston guy.
Bigger than life. Easy to say.
Yeah, he didn't have to move around on stage or anything.
No,
he just
so last
stand
time
there
I
and
just saw
fucking-
him on stage, we did the Nasty Show in Chicago at the Vic Theater, and it was me and him and Nick DiPaolo. Were you on that show? I don't remember if you were.
What year was it? I did that with Geraldo and
couple years
Patrice like
ago.
a year and a half ago. I don't know if I was on that one.
But he closed the show. I hosted it, and he went on last. And he was, I mean, it's just, he would just stand there and fucking, he was really starting to hit a stride, too. He was getting great. I mean, he's always been one of my favorite comedians, like always in like the top 3 since I first saw him.
Wow.
But in the last few years, he just started to get great. Like, he figured it. Every comedian hits some point where they figure out their thing. Like, they do the Hellraiser box, they click it right, and it starts fucking, everybody starts coming out of the doors, Pinhead and everybody, and he just hit that. I mean, just that last special was incredible. He was just starting to figure out how to make his thing really work.
Yeah,
But,
and off stage, to be able to do that on stage is fantastic. But then off stage, just to hang out and bullshit about stuff and make it genuinely funny. Any fucking subject that would come up in here when he was sitting here, he had something. He had at least a half hour on it.
I was trying to explain him to my kids because I want them to understand what this stuff means. Besides that, he was a big black guy and he said crazy shit. I had to I'm explaining him. I had to say that he was black at some point. Like, it didn't matter, but at some point I had to say he was a huge black guy. Like, it didn't actually wasn't material to anything I had to say about him.
But you feel compelled to describe him like that. Yeah,
and also the life lesson that you got to fucking take care of yourself. But
yes, true.
You know, which is makes me angry at him. But it's just that's the biggest substance abuse problem amongst black people is cherry coke. But still the biggest killer. But I told them, I thought of a bit that he did here that I was able to explain to them, and for a 6 and a 9-year-old to grasp it was kind of weird, but they got it because of his wording, which was about Plaxico or whatever the guy's name was who shot himself.
Plaxico Burress.
Yeah, the thing that he said about how his, he was rich now, living in a mansion, and he had a choice in life. He could hang out with rich white guys and play golf, or hang out with black guys that he grew up with, but if who are fun. But in order to do that, he had to carry a gun because those guys are fucking stupid. And they all carry weapons. So it was like live amongst your own, but he's not stupid. He's rich now. So he had to carry a weapon in order to hang out with his own people. That's such an acute observation. That's where he would find these like cracks in the
little things.
Oh
Yeah,
my
no one else
God.
was thinking
And my
about.
kids were howling. They got why that was funny.
Wow.
There was the shit that like I pondered for years, and when the subject came up, I felt all good about being able to discuss it and talk about it. And then I was saying before, in one sentence, he'd wrap it up and be like, "How did I never see that?"
And he'd close the book on it.
Yeah, done.
He'd say,
Here's
"That's it.
Here's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's where everyone now has to refer to Patrice versus the people.
Yes, he said president.
Patrice versus the people for racial harmony.
No, and I remember Like the famous thing of him going on whatever it was on Fox News.
Yeah, we just played that. Yeah.
There's a woman who actually dresses up to go and protest a rape joke, and he makes her laugh at a rape joke.
She laughed at it. She absolutely did.
That's the power of what he did.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
She couldn't deny it. This woman whose whole life is, I'm going to go act outraged.
Right.
Yeah. And she had to go, shit, that's
funny.
That's funny.
Fuck,
Blooper
that's
spots.
funny.
I wonder what she's doing now. That could have been good when she went back to the office.
Changed her path.
Yeah.
She's doing
really
no,
like to know
stand-up comedy, all rape
he
jokes.
was a guy who forced people. He also didn't take any easy roads himself. Like, everybody does some bullshit version of themselves. Everybody
Right.
does. I do. I have like a bunch of jokes that I know are just there because old fat,
Right.
overweight, middle-aged dad. Like, I got a bunch of those that I'm
Ace in the hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But he has.
I was going to say, he forced you to be honest, man.
Yeah, and he didn't do that himself. Like, he was such an atypical. The first thing he ever did that I saw that made me go, this guy is special, was his bit about how he loves the Beatles.
Yeah.
And the pressure as a black guy to have certain trappings, and he says, I love the Beatles, but I can't. And he do it, this visual of him riding around in a Cadillac. We all live in a yellow submarine. Look in the hood. What's up, G? Yellow submarine. Yellow submarine. But that's not your typical big black guy bit.
No. We got into so many great racial conversations on this show.
Oh yeah,
and he just slammed me, and but the great thing was, the second the show ended, we'd be walking down the sidewalk going to the parking garage, and he's just hey, how's your pool? What's that like? Your pool and shit. That cool?
No, my favorite part of being on the show.
Cool.
I loved being on when he was on because he'd get we would lock horns on stuff and get I told him once I wasn't attracted sexually to black women, and he tested me for like 2 hours, saying that meant I'm gay. He's like, it means you're gay. And he said, so he would go and he started doing this bit where he'd be like, please bring up and it was like a lawyer asking for. He was like, please bring up fatbooty.com. Like,
Go to the website.
He's like, really? Nothing? There's nothing that you can, you know what, bring up? Yeah.
Look at that. That's juicy.
Pissing on blacktits.net. And he'd come up and he'd go, this? You don't like this?
References, man.
But we would go at it here. And then, we'd walk. The best part, though, was walking down to the subway with him. And then we'd stand on, 6th Avenue and 7th or 57th and just stand there for, 4 hours and just talk.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And he'd say openly sexual things to every woman that walked by, and they would all smile.
You look delicious.
Yeah, he's just like, look at you with those pants. What kind of panties you got on? Pink. Bye. Good morning.
He would hold porn on a street corner.
Yeah, when we would do the walkover at the old station,
right?
And we'd be walking to XM. And Patrice would just stop and talk to any girl that was walking, and they would engage him.
Yes.
They would talk to him. And it's like, why aren't they running?
He would disarm you because he was funny and silly and he wasn't threatening. And they were just looking at him,
but
you would think he would be threatening.
Right. I mean, just his physical presence would be threatening, and the ability.
Maybe that's what it was. It was the relief. It's like, oh no, here's this black guy. He's got kind of a sweet voice. I want to hug him now.
We were at the comic strip one time, and there was a girl he liked at a Christmas party, and he's trying to play hard to get. He's like, I'm not going to talk to her, and he didn't talk to her, and she didn't come over. And I said, you fucking idiot, you think that you're being hard to get. She's happy you're not talking to her. She doesn't like you. He really thought that she was being intrigued by his evasiveness. He was just happy that this fucking fat creep was leaving her alone.
The ability to diffuse his physical presence with something so fast, like that quickly when he started talking to you, is amazing. Yeah. Because you would just look and go, big black man, must be afraid, must cross street.
He was an empathetic person, too.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what made him a great comic, is that he saw, he had insight because he was empathetic. But he was a guy who would, talk to him for 5 minutes, he'd start asking you about your life. And
absolutely.
What's going on
every
with
single
this
time.
Hey, you like your truck?
Yeah.
Be talking about my truck and stuff. Yeah, I got mine. I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, really? Where is this conversation going?
You knew it wasn't a conversation. He was basically fishing for information, and when he was done, he was just going to walk away or get off the phone. It wasn't like, I really want to know about your truck. It was, I need a piece of this and a piece of that, and then I'm done with you.
That's right. That's right. I'm going to put on my bowler hat and go.
Yeah, Mr. Cotton Club.
He had a lot of looks.
Oh, fuck.
Remember, he pulled off the Pink Panther pink shirt.
How we
the
didn't
fuck-
rip him apart.
We tried
for that.
too, man.
Yeah, he was wearing a pink
bright
Panther,
pink shirt with the Pink Panther on there.
What the fuck? Only he could get away with that.
Holy
Walking
fuck.
in here with that shit on.
It had the Pink Panther on it?
Yeah.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
It had what? Sequins on it
with
too.
sequins and glitter and what the fuck he was trying to pull off with that one.
We tried. we didn't get the best of him that day.
Dude, one of the funniest days in here ever was he was in here and we started talking about food from around the country, and he started trashing every city's food. And he's going, Chicago deep dish pizza stinks. It fucking stinks. And the phones are just fucking lighting up.
The whole world is hating on him.
Yeah, Texas barbecue. Oh, we got the best barbecue. Fuck your barbecue. Fucking.
He took them all on though, man.
Oh my god, it was hilarious.
Fuck yeah. So many good fucking.
But it's like I was saying, like every subject we came up with half hour.
twist.
When one of the funniest things was when we were talking about the cruise ship deaths and how it's just so easy to kill your significant other on a cruise ship. They circle around 3 times and then leave the scene of the crime.
You just got to push him overboard.
In
No
a
evidence.
giant ocean, and he like took it the extra step to do the Rasta man selling rock coats to your significant other. Buy a rock coat, man, and you put it on and then push your loved one over the edge, and they just sink right to the bottom. Fucking hilarious.
They even did that to Bin Laden. That's even how they got rid of
Yeah,
him.
get rid of him. You're never gonna find him. It's the ocean.
The ocean.
Yeah, but people were bringing up so many things, and there's just like I said, literally, if you strung them back to back, days worth of shit that is just material that isn't stuff on stage. It's you know, it's just conversation.
Most of the stuff he didn't even do in his act.
No,
Right.
it's just him.
Well, that's
talking.
the beauty of it. I mean,
Great.
not to kiss your asses, but that's the beauty of you guys. Most of the stuff you do on our show, you don't do on stage.
Yeah.
Kurt only
Well,
does
that
material in
sucks.
here.
Yeah.
That's all he does.
I
That's all.
only talk about Joe's fucking little fat tits on my act. And I see no reason to change it just because I'm on the radio.
That's the name of your new album, Joe's Little Fat Tits. Right?
Hey,
That was for my.
be quiet. Louis' kids are listening.
Explain to your kids why they can spell better than Bobby.
Yeah, I love how. No, I heard that. They called you a nerd because of how he spelled past.
Yeah.
P-A-S-T. You're a nerd. Like you only Bill Gates and Stephen Hawking and Jim Norton know how to spell fucking pass. He passed. That's like a caveman talking. He passed.
He passed me.
It's like a weird. It's like a E.E. Cummings poem about a dead guy. He passed. Fucking moron. Hey, you nerd.
Yeah, sorry for paying attention at school.
Tries to turn it around on Jim like, oh, you're one of those guys.
Like it was a basic spelling error that everybody makes in a long and complicated word. But this is not a PH in the middle of a word, you asshole. This is 5-year-olds can spell this right.
Yeah, it's not even like laugh with a GH. There's no silent letters.
Yeah.
I get the same one. Idiot.
He spells yeah Y-A.
Yep.
So he'll
Oh,
text
we got
you.
the same one.
Yeah. He's from
Yeah.
Boston.
Yeah.
Did it happen? Oh, you got this. He wrote the same thing to you?
Yeah, sure.
Moron. And it's not a spell check thing.
No,
No,
he
of course
blames
it's
it.
not.
You don't
Blames it all the time.
go over to the T. It's a whole other part of the.
Yes.
It's geographically very far from 2 S's and an ED.
You
Nowhere
can
near
definitely
there.
tell if somebody fucked up
No,
or if
he
the
passed.
iPhone fucked up.
You know what?
right.
You're right, and I wish I would have called him on that because it annoyed me when he said spell check. It's
No.
like there's more letters than the other one. We all
Well,
knew.
also, when somebody's
we weren't
defending
buying it,
themselves and they use 2 different defenses.
Yeah, he
The
also
first
said.
one was, well, who knows how to spell pass? That's like a Latin verb. That's where he starts, and then he goes, "Oh well, it was the spell check." Of course, I know. I'm a nerd too, Jim. It was the spell check.
He also said that he was laying in bed. So I was laying in bed, like, oh,
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you can't spell when you're laying in bed.
No, when you're laying in bed, there's no way.
Point, yeah.
Then you're at the mercy of that aggressive spell check.
We should call him right now.
Very
man.
proactive about the spell check.
Hey, he's on the set. Don't bother him.
Oh, that's right. He's on the set. He's on the set.
Oh, she's stupid.
God damn, man.
You should call Tribeca Films and tell them you have a guy in your cast that can't spell.
Get him fired.
So.
I'm smart too, dude.
Yeah.
I'm smart too. I'm not
Fredo.
dumb like everyone thinks.
Dude, you know what, dude? It's passed over, dude.
I'm finished.
You know what, dude? You're so schmarmy. You're spelling the words right. What are you, queer?
Spelling. That's his thing, is the fat consonants.
Yeah.
It's just a
Spelling.
so. Dude. He just spits out his consonants.
Oh, man. Spell. Just because you can spell.
So totally dissected his speech. That's fantastic.
Spelling, dude.
Spell. Fucking. I got a fucking pencil and I wrote fucking. What are you doing? What are you emphasizing? What feeling are you emphasizing?
Fuck, man.
The visual of you turning down the radio for your daughters.
Oh,
is
well,
killing me.
I listen. I always want to listen to this show, but I drive my daughters to school, and I am always riding the volume. But with him, it was just, and sometimes I let it go.
Yeah,
the curses in the world. I don't like, and I do it for a living, so I don't mind my girls know it earlier than a lot of kids their age. But that was, Jesus. There's no call for that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. It's not even that it's like offensive.
You got to know when to use
no
those
sense.
words, right? Fucking.
Because even when he confused Colin with Bill Burr, he's like, cocksucker. He couldn't just say Bill. It was Colin. He's like, fucking cocksucker.
That's how he spells the name Bill.
If you had the iPhone.
That's what that's what he does.
Because he's so insecure, he doesn't think he exists if he's not making a big explosive noise. And he can't just go anyway, so here's how I feel. Because he feels like he shrinks into nothing.
Poor Bobby.
So he's gotta talk like this and say fucking in order to feel like he's registering and feel like he's moving the needle on life at all. Otherwise he's gonna kill himself. Quiet is terrifying to me.
I wish he was still here.
No, and I explained to my kids how, in New York, the audiences are harder in a whole other way. In Boston, it's like you're going to get your ass kicked and people are going to scream. But here, they're just deathly, intelligently quiet. It's unnerving when you come from Boston. And so when a guy like him comes, and I described a guy like Bobby sputtering and cursing on stage, and New Yorkers just cringing, going, what's this guy doing? And his face is turning red. His fucking now bald face is turning red. And he's trying to...
Any place with
spinning on the
mic. Any kind of literacy is going to upset Bob.
Well, he also pauses to fucking, and cursing is a way of pausing because he's too stupid to collect a lot of thoughts in a row. He picks them up piecemeal as he's going. And you know what, dude? Fucking, and as he's doing that, he's thinking next, please, next, please, next.
Something come into my brain.
He can't put silence between words.
Oh my
God! Instead of going, so then, and that's again perfect, exact opposite of Patrice, who could command. And then he'd talk, and then it'd be quiet, and you'd wait for him.
Yeah.
But Bobby's like, yeah, so then I fucking I went to the thing, and this fucking cocksucking. These are all him trying to think of what
Those
comes
are pauses.
next.
It's the equivalent.
Those are supposed to be pauses.
It's the equivalent of ... on paper.
Dude,
No silence between words and no air between bites. No.
God damn. Thanks for the
Bobby's
laugh.
policy.
No.
Patrice was not afraid of that silence, too. Yeah.
No, that's what was so...
That's a talent.
He would just...
Yep.
No, and then he had a fastball. Like, he could do that, and then when he'd get on a roll about something... I mean, he was a very... I love... One thing I love about stand-up since I started loving it is how it works, musically, How somebody works the mic and sounds.
Like a rhythm?
Yeah, and he had this great way of doing that he would start... by just talking about something, introducing the subject, make people even a little unnerved by how uninterested he is and fucking standing there and doing a big performance. And then he would start getting excited about something, and then he'd start, and then his voice would go up to that raspy register, and he'd start feeling it, and then the place is rolling, and he'd rock. You know, it was just
it had a great dynamic to the whole thing.
That's what he was starting to figure out. That because he was on stage, he was funnier in here than he was on stage for a long time, and he was just, I think, it takes until you're in your late 30s, 40s to suddenly turn into, I can fucking do anything I want up here.
I think that
he just got there.
There was probably a fear of starting slow, like starting with a basic conversation. And not this, I got to grab their attention. I got to talk fast. I got to talk loud. Like just, like you said, this almost disinterested way he would introduce the subject, and then it would build. But to have the confidence to do that at first and not think you're going to lose the crowd.
What gets you finally to do it is when you get older, you just don't care. You really just don't give a shit. I actually don't mind if your life stinks up.
Fuck it.
I
disagree. You need a good icebreaker.
Shecky Quinn over there.
I went to
have an icebreaker.
You gotta have a good starter.
I went to the taping, and I don't know if it made the DVD, but just like what you're saying, he came out and just checked out the room for like 5 minutes, and I'm sitting there,
huge amount of balls,
and I'm sitting there in the audience.
Huge.
I don't know.
I don't have those balls.
I don't know if they edited that out of the DVD. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah. And I'm sitting in my seat like, this is your fucking chance. Do something. But he had the confidence to just
well, you
take
get
it
the
all
crowd
in.
into your gear when you do that.
Yeah,
There was one guy who was great at that, but I don't know. I think he's long gone. But remember Jonathan Solomon?
Oh, yeah, Jonathan.
Ray J. Johnson.
Jonathan Solomon used to come on stage, and he had the first time I saw him, he had a tape recorder with him, and he came on stage, didn't say anything. He just came on stage, and he looked at the tape recorder to make sure it was running. And then he put it on the thing, and then kind of cleared his throat, looked around the room, and then started. And I was like, ugh. Wow! But he did that. He did that every night. After I saw him a few times, like he always starts by pretending he's not sure of his recorder.
Right.
Like, I don't even need to look at you people yet.
Right.
And it would be like, at first you'd go, what a dick. But then you go, I guess this is what he does. As soon as he gets one laugh, he's bought credibility for that pace.
It is almost like rebooting the crowd, you know? You kind of,
forget
here's
that last
my
guy.
pace, right?
Doesn't matter how high energy he was.
Right, fuck him.
John Joseph just did 3 songs. And now you're all going to watch me fiddle with my Panasonic micro recorder.
I'm going to say another guy that used to do that, and I'm waiting for my trashing.
Okay.
But Ray Romano would go on at the end of a show where everybody's hot.
Yeah.
And he'd go on and be like, the whole crowd's like, oh, this fucking asshole talking about his fucking family. And by the end of that set, they'd be like, they'd fucking get him right into his energy.
You got to bring him into your wheelhouse, Carl.
That's the good word, Jim.
We have Bob Kelly on the phone.
Oh shit!
Hey, Bobby!
Bobby, we were just talking about you.
Hey, guys, I know. I hate everyone in that. And fuck you, Louie.
You've been jerking off to this the whole time. You love being talked about.
You stinky redheaded fucking piece of shit.
There goes with the fucking again.
Why would it hurt my feelings that my hair is red? It's been that my whole life. It's the only thing you can come up with. You don't even have like a unique. I didn't say anything about how you look or just your basic.
You said his bald face.
Hardware.
You did say his bald face.
Well, after like a long, other acute.
And you say you didn't like me. Fuck you.
I didn't say I don't like you.
Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you,
Louie. Say I don't like you. That's
fuck
what
you,
heard.
Louie, with your 2 legs and your goddamn toes.
Fuck you. And I hope your kids are listening. Fuck them too.
Okay.
Watch out, Bobby!
I brought him into the conversation.
And he just hung up on that one.
He said, I hope your kids are listening. Fuck them.
That's right.
I know you're listening too now, you idiot.
Right now, what he's doing.
You know what, Dad?
Right now, he's walking away, putting his phone, and he's trying to pull up his pants like a fat man does when he walks.
There's no way. Bill Crawley trying to pull his pants up the bottom half of the egg of his body. And they got nowhere to hang.
There's no friction there.
No, there's nowhere for them to hook onto.
Yeah.
You just got to pull them so tight that there's a belt mark in his fucking non-waist.
He probably wrote out that rant just so because we were just making fun of how he talks. He probably was reading it from a piece of paper. And that's all he had, so that's why he hung up.
Yeah, nothing else.
And you spelled red hair H-A-R-E.
Want to take a quick break?
Yeah, I got to piss badly.
Just for live read purposes. But Louis C.K., we got Colin Quinn, Jim Florentine, Kurt Metzger, Joe DeRosa, and David Tell just showed up. So.
Okay, where's Amy?
And Amy's
go? She left, I think.
Amy Why'd she leave? What?
She got pissed off. She told me you guys have the shit out of
She had something to do?
Yeah.
What'd she have to do?
I don't know what she had to do.
She had anything to do.
None of your fucking business.
But she's lying. You
She
know
might have to do another radio interview here. I think that's where she went.
Yes. Really?
All right, she'll probably come back.
Probably
later.
doing a woman's
Something.
station.
I hope so.
The Woman's Network.
Women
about their
problems.
vaginas, periods.
Quick break and we'll continue.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think it's great that you guys are doing this, and it's a shock. And I don't know about anybody in this room, but because of Twitter and all that kind of stuff, I can't even process exactly what's happening or what happened, and it's just a horrible loss. So.
Yeah, it really is, and you see it on Twitter, and you see how many people love the guy.
Yeah, but how many paid to see him, huh?
Yeah, that's true.
I hate to be the
they come out of the
I hate to be the douche and bag of the conversation here, but everybody loves him for free. We got a purple suit to buy and a gigantic coffin. All right, let's make things happen. All right, enough hemming and hawing about it.
Oh my God!
We got bills.
Oh my God!
999. What? Oh, sorry. That was the last time I was here. No, but I mean honestly, it's true. There's a lot of fans, and
oh my God!
What? Well, what were you guys talking about before I got here?
No, Patrice. We didn't bring it up. You're the first one to bring it up.
Yeah.
Oh, the president's in town. You're right.
Yeah.
There's so many other
We're
things
going to talk
happening.
about that.
Holy purple
What?
suit and a giant coffin.
Purple suit and a giant coffin.
Did you guys do that roast of Patrice at
Yeah,
was
Boston,
that Boston Comics?
I believe Boston.
Because I remember all the comics were like, hey, there was like a big wave of people like, what's all the excitement? Where's everyone going? They're like, they're roasting Patrice over at the like it was like a lynching in the 20s. Just like freckle-faced guys who are no longer comics and just like weird, like ventriloquists were running over, magicians, everybody like, we're going to get him. And then all these long faces leaving because Patrice can hold his own.
Yeah. It's like, I remember reading a thing about Rocky when they made that movie and that Stallone was peddling the script. Nobody wanted to make it. Right. And then whoever made it, the guy, producer, said he's reading yet another boxing picture. Like, there's so many. Who's going to want to make this? And then he goes, and then 3 pages in, this guy's talking to his turtles. And I'm like, what is this? And it made him pay attention. That's what Patrice was like. He's like, here's another big black comedian on stage.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch him with one eye open. And then he's talking about this Pepsi Cola rapist thing and these silly, weird, totally different insight into being a huge black guy than anybody. And you go, wait a minute, a whole other thing.
I thought you were going into a different direction where you were saying trying to convince him of something was as frustrating as talking to turtles. Like you have a better shot at winning an argument with them.
But we all agree he was black.
He was black.
At the end of this, we're all going to say
he was black.
Oh, man.
Really? And from Boston, too.
He was a black guy from Boston.
He was the best to argue race with, though, because even when, like, for hours, because even when you didn't agree with it, he always had a great point of view. It was like, and you always had to respect what he was saying. It's like, it wasn't just the typical black guy sounding off about race.
Right.
It was a well thought out point.
Yeah.
And he was right about white racism. Like
He
how
knew more about white culture than any black guy I've ever.
More than most white people.
Yeah. I've talked to 3 or 4.
Yeah.
No, and he was basically a very...
Yes.
I just realized who was talking.
Yeah, actually, it was 2 of them, and you talked to them both twice.
This is too.
I thought it was 2 totally
This is too white on black. Let's ask somebody of a different creed. Russ, you're kind of Asian. You have to stand up for our only celestial in the room.